We get so many remakes, remasters, reboots all the time. It's hard to keep track of sometimes, but the best ones always float to the top, and mwah, they're always fantastic and worth every second. So today I want to talk about some of my favorite reboots. Let's get into it. Sonic Go 6. I'm just playing. Tomb Raider 2013 is a reboot of the iconic action-adventure series that reimagines Lara Croft's origin story. Set on a mysterious island, the game follows a young, inexperienced Lara as she fights to survive after a shipwreck, facing dangerous enemies, puzzles, and very, very harsh environments. It focuses on her evolution from a frightened survivor to a resilient adventurer, blending cinematic storytelling with exploration, platforming, and excellent combat. The gameplay includes stealth, archery, climbing, crafting, with a strong emphasis on exploration and environmental puzzles. The game is also a bit darker, more grounded, and shows off a more vulnerable and humanized version of Lara. When I first played this game, I was hooked. I was already a semi-fan of Lara back in the day, and then the Uncharted games came, and I was big fans of those. So getting more games in that style with an iconic character like Lara, sign me up. Gameplay was solid, story was solid. It wasn't the best, but it was still solid enough to get me going, to get me hooked for the next one, and then the next one, and then hopefully the next one. The Tomb Raider has tried to reimagine itself a few times over these years, but I think the 2013 Tomb Raider was the one that nailed it perfectly in my opinion, and it's still 100% playable and worth your time today. Here we go. Next up we have Doom 2016. Yes sir, this is one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time. Doom 2016 is a fast-paced first-person shooter that rebooted the classic series from way back in the day on them old DOS computers. It was some old computers back in the day that ran Doom. And it throws you into a relentless demon-slaying action on Mars. As Doomslayer, my man, players battle hordes of demons using an arsenal of brutal weapons. There's so many different weapons. They're all fun to use. I didn't have a single bad time using any of the weapons in the game. From shotguns to chainsaws, while constantly moving around trying to dodge and not be overwhelmed by the enemy. It's hectic as hell. The game focuses heavily on speed and aggression, rewarding players for maintaining momentum and executing glory kills to recover health. And them kills, boy, when you rip out an eyeball, punch people in the head, it all feels so good, so visceral. What you want from a brutal game like this. There is lore, heavy lore, and a good story behind it if you actually care about it, but you don't really have to. Its main focus is the gameplay, and it nailed it. And you explore these demonic, hellish environments, and the game is known for its intense, adrenaline-pumping gameplay and heavy metal soundtrack that's a perfect complement to all the chaos. And let me tell you, that soundtrack by Mick Gordon gets your blood pumping every time. Too bad they did dirty about him in the future in Doom Eternal and stuff like that, but we still have something very, very good in 2016. The soundtrack is so good. Every moment hits hard. It fucks. It fucks hard. Doom 2016 rebooted the franchise and made it excellent. Next up, we have Ninja Gaiden. I mainly play Ninja Gaiden Black, but they're pretty much the same game. Ninja Gaiden on the original Xbox was a challenging, fast-paced action game that follows Ryo Hayabusa, a skilled ninja on a quest for vengeance after his clan is massacred. The game is known for its punishing difficulty, requiring precise combat skills, quick reflexes, and a mastery of a variety of weapons. Combat is fluid and dynamic, with a mix of swordplay, acrobatics, set against a variety of enemies and large, dangerous bosses. And let me tell you, them bosses, they get in your ass. They gonna get in there and they gonna get you right. It also features exploration, platforming, and puzzle solving, with very detailed environments that range from ancient temples to modern cities. The different environments in Ninja Gaiden is crazy. You can go from a metal factory to basically a temple in no time. It's crazy. I love it for its deep and rewarding combat system and its polished mechanics. The combat is so smooth, so fast paced. Every time you cut a person's head off, it feels wonderful. And it's still a standout to this day of that whole console generation. It's been ported and redone so many times that it's not hard to get your hands on, but the OG versions of it are still the best versions of it, in my opinion. But this reboot of Ninja Gaiden was one of the best. It was out of nowhere too, going from this difficult 2D side scroller to basically one of the best 3D action games of all time, and still keeping the difficulty while transitioning from 2D to 3D. Amazing work, amazing combat, still has some of the best visuals that hold up till this day. Amazing, amazing game. Next up, we have Wolfenstein The New Order. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I was not expecting to be playing a Wolfenstein game at all in my future. I thought those were old games and it was a relic of its own time. But when Wolfenstein New Order came out and I put my hands on that controller and I played through that game, what a magical game. It does what you expect it to do. Killing Nazis and killing them right. Wolfenstein New Order is a first-person shooter set in an alternate history where the Nazis won World War II. And they now rule the world. Players take the role of BJ Blazkowicz, a resistance fighter, as he rages on a one-man war against the Nazi army regime using a mix of brutal gameplay, stealth, and a lot of futuristic weapons. The game blends intense combat with a strong narrative, which is the most surprising part to me. The narrative of the Wolfenstein reboots are amazing. The narrative still sticks me to this day. BJ himself, his own personal monologues are all fantastic. They all hit. They have you caring about characters that you never would have expected. It explores themes of oppression, rebellion, and hope in a dystopian world dominated by Nazi technology. It features a mix of linear missions and open-ended areas. It does a wonderful job with character development, cinematic storytelling, and its balance between explosive action and emotional depth. I thought I was going to jump into this game and get just pure action, and I love feeling pain. Lots of pain, lots of triumph, lots of happiness, lots of hope, sadness, everything. The story is probably the best part of this game, and the action is also very freaking good. Just blasting down Nazi robots, whatever you want to do, man, you're gonna have a hell of a time, unless you're a Nazi. BJ Blazkowicz is one of the most underrated characters in my opinion when it comes to stories. The voice actor killed his role. Everything about this game is amazing. I've seen the older Wolfenstein games and they did not appeal to me, but I still gave this one a shot and I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did. My final one, and y'all probably could have guessed it, it's Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, you might say, yo, this is just like a remake, but now that we have the sequel, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, yeah, this is a reboot. No spoilers, stuff is changing. Final Fantasy VII Remake is an imagining of the iconic 1997 RPG, expanding upon the original story and characters with modern visuals. And that was probably the biggest part holding people back from playing this amazing game. What's the visuals? Because the visuals, they have a charm to them if you love those styles of games, those polygon, weird arm looking characters, but they have a dated style and somewhat dated gameplay. So to see those games and the top tier graphics that Square Enix always does, amazing. A different combat style too, which meets in the middle for both people who are hardcore tactic fans and want an action game. You get the best of both worlds. Of course, set in the dystopian city of Midgar, you play as Cloud Strife, a former soldier turned mercenary, as he joins a group of eco-terrorists called Avalanche to fight the corrupt Shinra Corporation. While the story stays faithful to key moments from the original story, it introduces new plot elements, characters, and surprises that deepen the experience. The game's stunning visuals, complex characters, and expanded world breathe new life into this beloved classic. I love Final Fantasy VII, all iterations of it, even Dirty Cerberus. Ugh. But playing this game for the first time was full of wonderment. Midgar, actually being able to go into it more in 3D, not just seeing that one PS3 visual from back in the day. We could actually get to travel around it in beautiful graphics. It felt like a dream. That Final Fantasy VII remake trailer is one of the best trailers of all time. They got the biggest pop of all time. Seeing Cloud Strife with the Bustle Blade appear on my screen in wonderful graphics, we'll never forget it. This game does a lot more than just remake what was there and what was already done. Because technically Final Fantasy VII Remake only takes place in Midgar, which is barely scratching the surface of Final Fantasy VII. So they added a lot more content into it, without a lot of the infiniteness of Midgar, and gave it even more life than it already had. I love this fucking game. And I'm glad that we're gonna see a different direction going forward in the future. I'm excited to see more and more and more and more of these characters because I grew up with them and I'll never get over them. But it's just a few of my favorite reboots of all time. Let me know some of yours. I know I missed a ton, so I'd love to hear some of y'all's, but that's it. That's all. Peace.